you guys can see us today. Absolutely wonderful. And it's not just Tay and Britt. We have a guest. Keirra Goggins is joining us on this episode. And I must say, I'm excited, ladies.
This is bomb.com, baby.
Yes, some of that.
Welcome. Center stage to Netflix.
Thank you.
Yes, so we're back here in season 2 of Netflix and Heal, and we're talking about the world. And this episode, I think, is really, really important because it's something that is just, it's sensitive to some, but it gets talked about a lot. And we see a lot of social media posts. We hear a lot of conversations geared around this topic, and a lot of people are talking about it. But we wanted to have someone on that could give us a perspective from a realistic approach. Like, she knows this topic for real. It's not her opinion. It's not her opinion. And y'all know on social media, y'all be giving opinions.
Hey, plenty of them.
And they're not factual. You don't know what you're talking about. So, yes. So this episode, we're talking about mental health. And I know we laugh and joke around a lot, but it is a very serious topic that absolutely needs to be discussed in this day and age, especially in the generation that we live in. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to the Netflix and Heal podcast, Dr. Keirra Goggins. All right. So let's just start off by telling the people a little bit about yourself. Tell them what you do.
Yes. I am a behavior therapist.
Okay.
I work with kids, ages 4 to about, I'll say 15 for right now. But I don't really have a limit. I recently acquired a 30-year-old.
Oh,
wow.
With some challenges, but it's nothing I can't handle. So I accepted that willingly, and I've gone in there and handled my business. I service the greater Atlanta area and some surrounding areas. It just depends. I do in-home, I do in school, and I'll do office work as well.
Okay. Ooh. So let me ask you a question. In doing that, what has been the most challenging part of what you do?
Not the kids.
It's never the kids.
Honestly, for real, it's the parents. It is the parents because how I'm set up is I see a client once a week, weekly, for 2 hours. All my sessions are 2 hours long, and I can't maintain anything in the home because I'm not there. You see me once a week for 2 hours, so the job is on the parents to maintain the consistency that I've established. Well, you can't make grown people, which is why I don't work with them, do anything they don't want to do.
This is true.
That's real now.
So I can set things in place from A to Z, but if they don't adhere to it, then I may come back the next week and it's a complete reset. And I'm like, well, what happened? Like, I gave you like ABC foundation work. Like, do this.
Right.
And they did none of it.
Oh, not doing your homework.
So it's safe to say that when it comes to mental health, I would say issues or problems, a lot of it stems from the upbringing.
Yes, that's the root of it because that's where we all start.
Yeah.
So it depends on your foundation.
Right.
If you're trying to build something on a shaky foundation, has gaps and holes, and it's faulty material, you're not getting anywhere.
This is true. And like, kids be acting up. And on the flip side of that, like in our culture, in Black culture, we say they bad. But a lot of times they're dealing with things that we just may not understand.
Right.
So you are the one that we come to put terminology behind little Ray that don't know how to be speaking in class.
Right.
Like, sit down before I pop you.
That part.
But you bring it to the parents.
Yes.
And you give the parents homework to do with the child. And they don't always do it.
Oh, man.
This is true. And I hate it.
Oh my gosh. That's terrible. Okay, so that brings me to another topic. Like, you said kids. What about teenagers? Is it harder working with teenagers than it is young children?
No, it's actually easier because I don't have to filter you with teenagers. With kids, I have to put it in a box and break it all the way down, which is fine. I used to be a preschool teacher, so I'm good on that. But with teenagers, I don't hold anything back. It's like because they want to see if I'm really about what I'm talking about, and they like to challenge me, which I think is funny because I push right back. I'm like, if you want to go, we can go.
Let's go.
And so once I meet them there, they're like, oh, she ain't playing. Yeah, I'm not playing.
No, she's not.
Like, I'm here for you, and I like with my older ones, I have to make it clear that I chose to be there.
Yeah.
Because I've had several of them when they were trying to get to know me, make comments like, "You're here because my parents pay you." That's not true. I actually have a choice.
Susie.
The audacity.
Yeah, I've gotten that before. Because they like to push, they think they can push my buttons, but I don't have any buttons to push. So they like to say comments and make comments like that. But the fact of the matter is, I get to choose my clients. I've worked to be in this space. You know, if I get presented with a case that I don't like, I can say no. So I tell them that when they want to, when they want to pop off, I'm like, no, let me be real with you.
Okay.
I don't have to come back.
Tell them the truth.
But I know how you feel, and I don't want you to feel that way. So I'm here to help. But if we're going to do this, I don't have to do that.
Come on now.
Oh, wow.
Woo,
yeah, I can see how you definitely like the teenagers a little bit better. So adults, no? Just out of the question.
No. It's a no.
No.
It's a hard no. Let me not play with God like that, because I can't put a stamp like that.
You just might have to. You just might have to.
He'll prove just who he is.
Yes.
I've seen it before. So let me say, for right now, for me, Lord, I'm seeking for me.
Yes.
I don't see it, but I'm not saying I can't do it, because I just accepted a 30-year-old, and it was based off of diagnosis. It wasn't based off of age. And her diagnosis I've dealt with before. I deal with in children. And the diagnosis and the characteristics and the criteria, they don't change across the board. They may present differently in an adult because they have access to different things. They know more. Their experiences are different. But the baseline criteria for a diagnosis, it doesn't change.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. So there's something I want to talk about. And it kind of goes or flows with the adults. Because it's this little, we like to stay current. I like to stay current in current events.
Okay.
So something going on in the social media realm now, and there's a picture that's floating around, and it's two black men. One of them is Jonathan Majors, and one of them
we name
is
dropping. Okay.
We keep it raw
what you were
here.
talking about.
Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan for the upcoming film Creed 3.
Okay.
And so this picture comes up, and they are a little bit closer than
They're
most
embracing.
African American men like to be close to each other.
Oh, this about to get good.
They're a little bit closer. I knew this was gonna be saucy. You look, I knew it. I said we got to talk about this.
We gonna talk about it.
I was rubbed kind of the wrong way, so I wanted to hear an alternate perspective on this.
Okay.
They were closer than most African American males are in what we see regularly, especially in picture and posting on social media.
Okay.
So of course, the comment section. We have so many finger thugs.
Finger
and they're
thugs.
typing and they're like, for lack of a better word, because I'm gonna keep it real, this look gay.
Okay.
Or this is portraying our black men in a certain light and I don't like it. And I hear a lot of they must be crazy, or this is what Hollywood will do to you. It'll mess with your mind type photograph.
Right.
And what do you think about mental health when it comes to the dynamics of male masculinity?
Oh, that's a good
Oh, it's
one.
nothing, because Jesus prepared me, because me and him done discussed this already.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
it.
So I got to start from the beginning.
Yeah,
start
okay.
from childhood.
Let's do that.
Unfortunately, in black households, there is a very strict, specific picture that people have painted of what a man should be and what they should not do. More specifically,
Yes,
a man shouldn't cry. A man shouldn't show emotion.
That's what they say.
And when you grow up in that, and a child, if they hurt themselves, it's a male child. If they hurt themselves and they cry, they're immediately told to shut up or silence them or something like that. And now you're building in this mechanism that is now hindering their emotions.
yes,
Wow.
yes.
Now you're starting them off on this. These are their learning years. These are imperative years to where it builds the foundation of how they handle and respond to the world that they're going to go into. Now you have stunted them at this point. Now emotions are powerful.
Yes, very.
Everything is connected to an emotion. When someone does something to you, you feel something. When you do something, you feel something.
Right.
Everyone has those hormones and chemicals in their brain, the dopamine, the serotonin, all of that. And it reacts to what their external environment. So when you put a hindrance and say you should behave a certain way despite of what you're feeling, now we have a problem. So, and this goes in households with, there's a male child, they have a sister or cousin, a female, And so now they're spewing this out as they get older, so they don't even know what to do when they see it. So now it's a problem. Now, oh, they gay. No. Everyone didn't teach their child that. And if they did, some people grew out of it. Yeah. They got out of the house and learned differently, and they learned better because there is a better way.
There is.
There's a lot of this cultivating an emotionally constipated man, and especially an emotionally constipated black man, but then women want to complain when their man won't show emotions or tell them how he feels and all this. But on the back end, he probably saw you comment on that post talking about they gay. And no, he's just showing love and appreciation and adoration for his brother or someone he's close to. And there's nothing wrong with that. What does that have to do with sexuality?
Talk about it. Talk about it. Because I found that.
If someone could really clear that up, what is that? Just because you missed out in childhood and you don't want to address it, just because you don't recognize the deficit or the lack thereof, now you're projecting. Now it's on everybody else, because then you would have to backtrack it. Oh, this was somebody's fault. They taught me wrong, and I accepted it. And when I got older, I didn't learn from it. I just perpetuated it. Yep. And you put that on everybody. No, that's not right. You got painted the wrong picture. You need to go back to from scratch, rip that picture up, and you need to start again.
Well, how would they do that? Okay, say you have a 45-year-old man. Grew up back in the age range. Daddy, uncle, granddaddy told him, you fall off the bike, you get up. Men don't cry. You don't do that. You talk about your emotion. That's being a sissy. We don't talk about that. We don't do that. How would he undo that? And what would be steps that need to be taken in order for him to not project that onto his child? Because it's kind of embedded by then. Yeah. So that's difficult.
Acknowledge the truth of the matter. Acknowledge that you were taught wrong. Acknowledge that this is not the only way, or this is how it should be. Because if you don't acknowledge the truth, then you don't have anything to work with. What are we addressing? You got to put a name on it.
That's it.
You were taught wrong by someone who was taught wrong. And if no one checks it, it's going to continue. That's why this stuff becomes generational. Because no one put a stop to it. But you have the power to put a stop to it if you acknowledge it as being wrong, and then you step into the truth, into the light.
Yeah.
Ooh,
so that first and foremost, and what will put you on the right path is acknowledging the truth, honestly. And that looks differently after the fact. It looks differently for everyone. Because you may need to go back, if your father or grandfather still living, uncle, whatever, and say, I don't think that's how we should have did that. Right. And then if you have a child, then that's when you step in and you reassure your male child that no, it's okay if something hurts you. And you don't always have to cry. You can just express it, just talking, acknowledging that something hurt you. It's not always crying. Some people just need to vent, and not being afraid to vent because something made them feel a certain type of way. It doesn't need to be seen as a problem or being a sissy or any of this foolishness.
Right.
I mean, people think, the older generation thinks that, they're doing the right thing. And I get that, especially if that's what they were taught. But someone got to stand up at some point.
Somebody.
You stand up or you shut up. Because don't complain about these men that don't know how to express their emotions when you silence them when they were a child. That makes absolutely no sense to me.
Makes no sense. And then we have this stigma in the black community where we'll see things and we'll ignore them.
Or don't say anything.
Especially when it comes to mental health. Like, I've heard so many people say, ain't nothing wrong with that boy. He just quiet. And I'm like, honestly, your child cannot focus.
Like, no.
Like, literally. And it's like almost as if what we should be loud about, we're quiet about. And what we should keep in our homes, we let the world know. Right. Like, if the daughter gets pregnant at 16, everybody on the block gonna know, oh, this girl messed up. Everybody. But the son punching holes in the wall.
And you missed it.
He throwing glass vases across the room. And nobody knows.
Nobody's saying anything.
Because he can't, he just mad. But no, there's something.
There's something going on.
And I think there needs to be more conversations around mental health in our community. Because it's ruining the generations that are coming up behind us, because they don't know how to handle pressure. They don't know how to handle certain things. Like, Britt, so do you see this when you look in social media or you talk to young kids? Do you see how they can't handle things?
Yeah, and a lot of times, sad to say, and today a lot of kids are taking their own lives because they feel like there's so much pressure put onto them. And I'm gonna be real, it's in our music that's kind of leading kids to kind of go off on the deep end, but they're taking on pressures that they shouldn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
They're taking on unnecessary trauma. They're taking even their parents' trauma on. Nowadays, kids are, how can I put this? They know more than what they should. Mm-hmm. A 3-year-old shouldn't be having to come to school. Well, my mom just rolled up in the car because she's upset that the rent's not paid. And a 3-year-old?
Yeah.
They're still getting their language together.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to go to school and they're sad. And, they should be ready to, enjoy life. But there's so much pressure. And there's so many things that are put on the kids of today. And you have kids now that have to worry about bullying. We didn't have to grow up with social media worried about getting bullied for what we had on our skin. We don't have the best weave, or we don't have on the best foundation in the world. Now kids are dealing with these extreme beauty standards and so many different components that they feel like they're carrying more than just their book bag on their back. Wow. And so that's a lot to unpack, just growing up in this day and age, and everyone is so super opinionated, even towards kids.
Yes.
They take it even harsher than adults do.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree. And okay, so I want to backtrack. We got to go back to this because I want to, the way you kind of laid that out, and see, this is why. Because no, seriously, this is a safe space. I'm very vulnerable, and I'm going to talk about the reason I feel there's many reasons why she's here. Key and I had a conversation, and we talked about a situation that happened in the rap community with one of the rappers passing away. He was a part of a trio group. And he died. And the way she laid that thing out and brought it back full circle to mental health, I was sitting there. I had to pick my mouth up. I was like, can you say that again? And she's sitting there like, what'd I say? And I'm like, girl, now you know the way you just rolled. Because for someone who was gifted with this wisdom and this knowledge and this intellect of this topic, not that she hasn't studied, but I truly believe that you have a gift for this.
You are
this
gifted.
Is what you are called to do. So I'm like, well, they was at a dice game. He got shot. She was like, no. I was like, huh? Wait a minute. My mind didn't even go there, but your mind goes somewhere else when things like that happen. I want you to talk about that. Like, do you even remember?
I don't remember.
She don't even remember.
No.
See,
Holy Ghost, where you at?
That's what it was.
Yes, because I was sitting there like, so you brought that full circle. But I don't technically remember either. But I said that to say, because culture, do you all believe that culture has an effect on the mental health of young children today? Ooh. How does that impact their mental health? I'm talking rappers. I'm talking social. You 16.
Come on down, Mr.
You growing up in this culture. We got all kinds of music out there. I'm talking. One of the lyrics I gotta stay relevant, okay? Because I need to know what's out there. So I'm listening. And I'm like, did he just say chop him up and put him in the river? That was actually lyrics to a popular song that kids listen to. I think y'all hear the mumbling, but I heard what he said for real. He said chop him up, put him in the river. That was crazy. So listening to that type of music on a regular basis, ingesting that, what does that do for your mental health?
Okay, let me back it up a little bit. Because social media is such a wide array of everything. And we're just going to stay on children and just growing up and things like that.
We can touch adults too.
I may flow there, but...
Because, these millennials are acting worse than these teenagers.
We're going to see where this goes.
All right, go ahead.
So, I think they're so receptive to that because... and this can count for adults too. If you don't establish your identity, you're more open to what everyone else is supplying because you don't have your own supply.
Okay. We're gonna play that back and y'all write that down when that,
y'all gonna have to, because I don't even remember.
Write that down. Write that down.
Okay. So it's like you're living a life with a blank book. No title on the cover, pages are blank, no back page summary or anything like that. But everything that you hear, you're going back, you jotting it down. Nothing to do with you. None of your own input.
Right.
None of your own thoughts. Nothing you're creating organically. Nothing. Because you don't know where you fit. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you are. You don't know where you should be. You don't know where you're going. And when you can't fulfill these questions for yourself, then everyone else can do it for you. Because it looks more appealing. Because you have nothing. You got this blank book. You have absolutely nothing. So you convince yourself that everyone else has more than you have.
Oh, that's comparison, boy.
Because you have to think, we're human beings. We're visual.
We are.
Yeah.
You know, so if it appeals visually, and then there's, unfortunately, with younger children, it's the mob mentality. If you see everyone else your age responding to something, you let yourself gravitate. Oh, let me go jump in too.
Yep.
Let me go where they are.
Yep.
Because apparently something going on over here. You may not even know completely what's going on. But all these other people over here, they look like you. They all over here. It's drawing them to something. You don't know what's going on. You can get over there and be moving and going with the flow and still not know what you're listening to, who you around, what they doing, what they did before they got there.
Goodness.
You're basically, unfortunately, setting yourself up. And sometimes it can go so far as you're setting yourself up for self-annihilation.
Yes.
Sheesh.
Yes.
Because you're letting everything define you because you didn't take the time to stop. Everyone's rushing, everyone's going, and you don't take the time to figure out, okay, well, who am I? What do I like? What don't I like? What can I tolerate? What won't I tolerate? What are my standards? What are my goals? What are my morals? What do I believe in?
That's it.
So I think with social media being so accessible, it fills in those gaps. And it's real easy because anybody can get to it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's everywhere. Social media, music, all of that. TV. You know, the world is going to do what the world is going to do. Period.
Right.
Now, when you've been able to go through some things, have some experiences and things like that, and you allow yourself to start to, you know, do that self-check-in and that self-evaluation, and you're trying to figure out and define things because you really want to claim your stake in the world and things like that, things start to filter out. Things start to fall off because you begin to define, okay, I can't deal with that. Like, I don't want that around me.
Right.
Like, I don't like how that makes me feel.
Right.
You know, and you separate yourself. There's power in separation.
Very much so.
See, people get separation confused with isolation.
Difference.
There's a difference here.
Huge difference.
Separation is you've made a conscious decision, like, nah, that ain't working for me. And you have your own reasons. Isolation is you're withdrawing, you're not willing to acknowledge, you're trying to hide, you're trying to avoid. Completely different things.
Definitely.
So you can't blur those lines because there's a lot of power in it when you know why you're doing something and why you need to do it.
Yes.
You know, it's for the betterment of self at the end of the day. Kids don't have that. And when it's not being taught at home or it's not being shown from a reliable and credible source, you know, you're open game for everything.
Yeah.
It's like you have a target on your back.
Goodness.
And sometimes you're not even a moving target because you don't even put that much energy into yourself. It's just like you just taking everything in.
Yeah.
You just taking everything. And you have a developing mind as a child, so you don't know what to sift through. You know, you take everything as truth, as right, as in this is how it is, this is how it's supposed to be. It doesn't look any different than this. It can't be anything more than this. This is all you're going to amount to. This is all you're going to have to offer. You're going to have to do it with the group. If you do it by yourself, you're going to fail. You don't possess anything internally that's going to get you past and over these humps. You're going to be connected to this hurt and to this trauma. You're not going to see past this because your mama didn't see past it. Your daddy didn't see past it because they were absent or they were present and still absent.
Which is definitely
Is it
a thing.
Real. It's a thing.
It's definitely a thing.
It's a thing.
Yeah. That was loaded, King. That was loaded. But okay.
In
Because
the ballpark.
no, because like I think about the children, but like my mind automatically goes to like women. And we know that in this society we have women that are raising a lot of children by themselves.
Right.
So imagine a woman, and she's roughly around millennial age, I would say, you know, early 30s, and she didn't get the necessary help she needed to cultivate herself mentally. That's okay. So now, what does that look like for her children? Should she stop and assess that, even though her children are already, you know, have grown, and she's like, wait a minute, something's not right. How can she get what she needs to give them what they need?
Okay. Well, I don't believe in it's too late narrative. I don't believe in that. I don't embrace it because possibility is always possible.
For sure. Yes.
Recognition is first. Now, if you're raising children by yourself, you know that it's supposed to be with someone else because you made them with someone else. Let's be real about it.
Yep.
So this isn't a single journey. That's not what this is. So off top, you already know. So you know there's some deficits there. There's going to be some gaps there. So let's be real. I think a lot of times women try and perpetuate this independence or I can do it by myself and all this other stuff. But you shouting this in public, but you crying in private because it is a lot. It's weighted.
It's hard.
It's a 2-person job and you trying to double up.
Ooh. It's hard.
It doesn't make you look any less because you admit that you can't handle a 2-person job. It was designated as a 2-person job because you didn't lay down by yourself and create nobody's baby.
Right.
Like, let's be real about the situation. And I think a lot of people, a lot of women or what have you, they don't want to look a certain way in front of other people as if it matters. No, you're not responsible for new lives. You're not responsible of cultivating and molding and shaping these human beings. And now you, for whatever reason, you're a one-man band.
Man.
So now you got to do a little extra.
Yeah, tell me.
And you got to give your children the best chance possible. And you got to recognize and admit, all right, I need to pick up the pieces. And you got to determine what these pieces look like and how you can put these pieces back together. If it's recognition and going to seek out a mentor or some guidance or just some self-research or something like that, it can start there.
Yeah.
If you need a blueprint, it's out there.
It is.
You got to go for it and forget what everybody else thinks because it doesn't matter because they're not in your home at the end of the night.
This is true.
They're not keeping you up late at night and you trying to sort through, what do I do next? How am I going to get them to do this? How am I going to make sure my children are happy? How I'm going to fill these gaps? They're not there.
Right.
They talking loud, but they not talking like you're left with silence.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So your opinion, the opinion of others,
Yes, because I say that. Yeah, oh, that was good. Because really, you got to start somewhere. There has to be a starting point. Like you, first of all, you said something so powerful. You said admittance. Like a lot of people are so afraid to admit, I am struggling. Say that. Yeah. Say that out loud. Say that to someone you can trust with that information. But say that, and that's with any aspect, anything you're dealing with in your mental, because. Honestly, if this is messed up, you're going nowhere fast. You're going nowhere fast. This right here has to be on track in order for you to go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like it says, the mind. Scripture moment.
Let's go.
The Bible says in Isaiah 26:3 in the CSB version, you will keep the mind that is dependent on you in perfect peace, for it is trusting in you. That is God. He will keep our mind in perfect peace if we trust in him to do it. So I say, first of all, it's going to be difficult to keep your mind without Jesus.
Okay.
It's going to be hard. You're not going to make it very far, people. Okay? That is definitely the antidote to the problem we're discussing. That is what you need. But like you said, admitting that, okay, there's something wrong. Like I'm not feeling like myself. It's hard raising these children. I need to cry. Why do I feel pent up emotions? Why does my chest hurt every time I lay down? Because I ain't cried in 33 years and I don't know why I feel like this. Why am I yelling? I don't even know how to whisper. I yell every time I talk to somebody. Girl, come here. Why are you yelling at me? I don't want you to yell at me. I don't like it. I just want you to talk to me, Zara. Just say hi. Why I gotta be the B word? Because you mad. You ain't crying, so I'm the B word. That's cold.
This really means.
It's really awful. But yeah, I think we need to make sure that people understand that we have to admit if something's going on. We have to use our mouths and we have to vocalize. All right, today, even day to day. Yes. Today was hard for me because a lot of people, they sit in silence and they don't say anything. They just go home, and then they self-soothe or medicate in ways that are unhealthy, which lead to other mental health issues or physical health issues. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, that happens. But yeah, there's definitely a lot to be laid out in this topic. And I think we're going to touch a whole lot of it.
We
super
are.
excited. You're just, schooling us. I feel like I went to med school or something.
Right.
We should have worn a white jacket. So we may not have on, the white coats, but we do have on denim jackets, and we're going to get them today because we look very nice.
I should let y'all see the back of mine.
I
mean,
can we
see real quick?
Go.
Oh, Black Air Society.
All right.
Don't slip on a drip.
What?
Don't slip on a drip, boy. What you saying?
Mine doesn't have anything on the back. That's beautiful, KSP. I wonder who did that for you.
Tay creates.
Nevertheless, so let's talk about these people, okay? Alright, so we've discussed this whole thing with these. No, for real, y'all, I gotta go back to this male thing because y'all don't understand how upset. We're gonna move forward. And give me 5 minutes. Go ahead, give me 5 minutes.
Dig into it.
It made me so angry.
Okay.
And I don't really like to feel that emotions because the Bible says that anger rests in the laps of fools, and I'm not a fool.
You're not a fool.
Okay? I placed it. I didn't do anything with it. I gave it to the Lord. I said, Jesus, fix it. But I just thought that was crazy because I have a son. I have a black son, and he's very affectionate with everyone. He hugs his dad. He kisses his dad. With his uncles, he hugs them. They tell them he loves them. So I'm like, so are people looking at my son like he's soft because he shows affection, and in his home, we allowed him to show affection to his grandfather and to his brother and to his father? Like, that's crazy.
That is.
That's crazy. So that kind of bothered me because that takes me into as men get older and they in relationships. Right. And now we have, like you said, men who were told they can't do this. So mental health, they suppress things. They're dealing with things, trauma, childhood. You said they see the mama rolling up, all types of things that a child has ingested in their most, forming age group. And they grow up. And now it's time to date. Okay? And they crazy. That's all I got. They crazy. And they don't start off crazy, y'all.
No, they don't.
Because this is a personal story. They don't start off like that. No. They be like ghosting until one day they just not ghosting no more.
They just gone.
And then you be like, something's really wrong with you. I don't even think what did you just say? Like, are you okay? Like, why are you looking like that? So, like, safe to say again, unchecked mental health illness shows up in relationships. How we handle that? What do we do there?
Woo!
Help, God, can you help us, dog?
Trying to be nice.
Don't be.
What?
You don't have to be nice. We don't.
It presents in so many different ways. And one thing is, you don't know that you've been traumatized until an experience triggers it. Most of the time, that's how you figure out your triggers, which is something that pretty much offsets your emotions, and you can react physically, emotionally. This can be internal or external. It just depends on the intensity or the magnitude of the trigger. And for relationship's sake, say a man's in a relationship with a woman and the woman says something that he perceives to be condescending. This could be something that he was told repetitively from his childhood by a parent, someone who should have cared, should have loved him, should have shown him love and things like that. And, he's out of the house now in a relationship trying to make it work. But then here comes this girl and she said that same thing. Now, he may not have thought that it was an issue. Because when he heard it from his parents and within his home, they were pushing that, men don't cry and show emotion and all this. So he hampered all that down.
Okay.
And so out of sight, out of mind. But here come this loudmouth girl who really need to humble herself and hasn't dealt with her own trauma, who start barking.
Yep.
All this noise, and that one thing, he go off the handle. And this can be any type of... Oh, Lord.
Oh, there it is.
I'm visual. So as you're talking, I see
the movie.
But here's the thing. You're going to find two types of men. They're going to either shut down or everything's going to become overt. Now, depending on their level of respect for women, unfortunately, this could be abusive. This could be physical abuse. This could be verbal abuse, emotional abuse, However you want to look at that.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be one or the other. With this unrecognized trauma, and it hasn't been processed, and they haven't sat with it, they haven't recognized it to sit in it and deal with it and work through it and address the perpetrators and things of that nature. So you're taking all that baggage, and half the time it's baggage you don't even know you have.
True.
You dragging baggage, you heavy, but you don't know what's behind you. You dragging it, and it's weighing you down. You know you don't feel quite right, but you don't exactly know what it is, and it takes a trigger to pretty much reveal it all. And you really got to men would really have to sit with themselves and be like, why did that make me mad?
Yeah.
Why don't I want to talk to her right now?
Yeah.
What does this remind me of? Why was I hurt by this? Who hurt me? And how, in the last question, how can I fix it? Or do I want to fix it?
That part.
Do I want to be better? Because you can't function in mess. Because if you let mess sit too long, it becomes toxic.
Very much so.
And toxicity becomes consuming. And then what are you going to have left? You're going to be hollow.
Yeah, nothing. You're just a corpse.
And how are you going to be hollow and in a relationship with a whole nother being? How does that work? Because you're supposed to enhance one another. I don't believe in that half and half stuff. I need you to come as whole as possible.
Please.
And I need to see what... I'm crossing over into something.
Well, that's okay.
Let me bring it back. Jesus.
Look, I was about to get like...
We on mental health. Keirra.
What you say?
Get it together. All right.
We in it.
So you want the other to enhance. But, everyone talks about, what are you bringing to the table and all this. Okay, my whole self. My whole self. And what can you add to it? What can you perfect in me that you possess that I need? What can you help me improve that I was probably struggling with? And it takes this special type of divinely appointed person in holy matrimony. Let me add it.
Thank you.
Because it's important, because we put marital promises on this temporary foolishness.
Don't do it.
We're not going into that, kid.
I don't cross the two. I don't know how y'all do it. I don't cross the two.
We not doing it.
But y'all may catch me later and I can explain further. Anywho. So yeah, in a relationship, with a man, because we're talking about the man, he literally has to address it. And you have to, depending, I don't know what type of relationship this is, we would have to pretty much hammer that out. It has to be a safe space for a man.
True.
Absolutely.
You cannot use his vulnerabilities and his weaknesses and weaponize them when you get mad at him again.
Right.
Because you might lose your man.
For sure.
And and you might lose him and he'll still be present.
Very much so. And he won't talk to you.
But you may not be able to get anything else out of him.
Nothing.
He may not share not another thing with you.
Nothing.
Because something he trusted you with, you turned around and used it against him.
That's real.
And he thought you were someone he could trust.
Yeah.
He thought this was his safe space, but now you showing him differently because you mad.
Or he read your comment under that picture.
He saw your comment.
He saw that you was what it was like, y'all the gay.
And people
saw it.
And people gotta stop. And women and men too gotta stop using the fact that they're mad and they're angry just to fly off the handle and say whatever.
Yeah.
As if the person's supposed to forget something you said out of anger. No.
They don't forget.
You said it because you meant it, and that's how you feel.
That's exactly how you feel.
And you didn't have enough regard for the person that you're with not to say it, or at least get your point across in a different manner. So people leave that, I was angry, I was mad, I didn't mean it. No, you didn't expect it to slip out your mouth.
Exactly.
That's
You lost self-control. You allowed yourself to lose control of yourself and just say whatever, and you forgot who you were in a relationship with, and you thought you was going to come back and it was going to be all fine and dandy, and they like, what you doing here?
Why are you back?
You remember what you said?
I didn't mean it. I was mad. Okay, that's good that you said that about people using their anger to say things, because sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes I feel, even though mental health is definitely very much so real, it is a real thing, it has real complications, it has real diagnosis, and you need to get real help. But I will say this, some people use those terms loosely.
Yeah.
Okay, let me say, I got ADHD, so I clean up all the time. That is not what that means. For everybody out there who says,
so they clean up all the time.
Dr. Keirra, you went to school for this. Tell me.
That's not.
Just because I like my house neat and tidy in order does not mean I've been diagnosed with OCD. That's the one. That's not what that is. And then what do they say? What's another one they use like in culture to
like you were saying with ADHD? They'll say people who are forgetful or overly messy, or they're immediately kind of loosely use the term ADHD, and
or
I'm
mean
like,
people are bipolar.
or mean people are bipolar.
That is
that's not what that is.
Serious diagnosis. And if you ever were in the room with someone who was diagnosed with that, you would probably be scared. You'd be terrified. Because I know I would. I'm like, who are you talking to? Okay.
No one else is here.
No, but yeah, and so like mixing up the terminology. So do you get like a little when you hear people use those terms so loosely and they say them being funny, like
There's no keep glamorizing it, ain't it?
Like what? How does that make you feel? I be mad, and I'm not even a doctor.
I'm gonna be honest. When I'm not at work, I'm not at work. I'm
not. So you be like, okay, girl, you got it.
When I'm not at work, I'm not at work. It's like people can say what they want to say. Yeah. I don't provide unsolicited anything.
True.
Mm-hmm. This is in friendships. This is whatever. This is just me in general. Mm-hmm. If you don't solicit it from me, I'm not adding it. Because if you don't ask me for it and I share it and you're not ready to receive it, then I've wasted it.
That's true. I've heard someone say that before. I'm not sure where it was.
I've been like that my entire life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Don't give it to them if they don't want it.
If
they're not going to digest it.
You're not, because there's things that have to be done on the back end before you ask someone something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have to get in a place of being receptive.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just giving, and no one asks you at all, you just feel like, sometimes people like to hear themselves speak. Mm-hmm. I don't have that issue. That's not my testimony. Because I can be quiet.
We know. It's a shock that she's here.
Okay. It's a blessed moment.
We know. We definitely know.
So for me, it's like you have to get to a space to receive before you seek help from anything for anything, So when people make the ADHD comments, the bipolar comments, and things like that. Now, let me say this. When I hear it, I think there is some truth to it, but they may be misrepresenting it.
Yes.
Because everything is not diagnosis based. It's not, because the DSM-5, that's where you get your diagnosis from and things. That's where the criteria is listed and all of that. And you have to meet a certain number of criteria across a certain span of time to even be diagnosed.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So everything, it does not come with a diagnosis. And to be completely honest, I'm the type of person, I don't want to give you a diagnosis. I don't want to say I think you got it. I don't.
Right.
Because if I can't, by any means, if I can avoid it, I will. You may just need, all right, let's just move that around. Let's move that away. Let's add this. And we done. Instead of, okay, now I got to observe you. Now I got to see how you do this, when you do this. What are your triggers? I'd rather not.
I don't even feel like doing all of that. Let's just... So is there an easy fix? What would be the easy fix to someone that struggles with... Okay, all right, let me say it like this.
Be careful what you ask.
That's what I'm saying.
It's gonna take
I'm like, okay, let me say it like this. So, someone has... I'm trying to paint a scenario. This person just tends to anger easily. I'm talking like small things. Like goes downstairs to the refrigerator, somebody ate their pie. It's really not that deep, right? You was on a diet. But you get, I'm talking mad. Like Hulk mad over somebody eating the pie. The baby ate the pie.
Okay.
The 2-year-old
just the baby.
And you're angry. What is that?
Now, I'm going to stick to one possibility because I like this possibility. Sometimes we mismatch emotions for something else. You're not really angry. You may be hurt from something else, but all you know how to express is anger.
Yeah.
Maybe you feel a certain way about crying. Maybe you feel a certain way about being vulnerable. But you know how to be mad. You know what mad looks like. And what I tell like my clients, because they're children, I was like, I don't need to see that you're mad. Tell me why you're mad.
That's good.
I don't need to see it. I don't need to see you throw anything. I don't need to see you punch your daddy. No. I want you to tell me. What is it? I want you to say it. Don't show me. Say it.
That's good.
And they paused. I was like, because I don't need you to show me that. I already know it. Like, we can leave that out. But children think because for whatever reason it's in movies, it's on TV and things like that, the anger looks a certain way and it should be done a certain way. And if they think or perceive something as, oh, this made me mad versus, oh, it hurt me, they're going to do what they know because it's easier.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to yell. Exactly. Because they get to mix match too.
Yeah.
Oh.
You got to define what it is. So you said, okay, someone ate your whatever out the refrigerator, but you still hurt by something that happened 10 years ago.
Ooh.
But I'm going to take it one step further. Probably in your household, all you saw was people being angry.
Yep.
This is the emotion you saw that was presented, over the majority of, because either we'll just stick to the male child. Sadness wasn't accepted. The crying was a no. But anger, it had free reign.
For sure.
Somebody was throwing punches, throwing stuff across the room. People was hollering, fighting, all this. All right, I'm gonna go to that one. But I'm really hurting. But I don't know how to express that.
Wow.
But I know how to express this anger though.
Wow.
Ooh.
So you mix matching emotions because this is the only one you know.
Yeah.
Because you weren't encouraged to talk. You weren't encouraged to journal things. You weren't encouraged to find an outlet. You weren't encouraged to confide in someone that could have been outside of your home, because you can't always get help in the home. Let's be for real about it.
Very true.
Very true.
And that speaks to the children who grew up in homes with parents with untreated mental illness.
Okay, that's the real. That's
because
real.
we can stay in the community about it. Because I know about the stigma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm coming for that too.
Yeah,
Please.
so, get in there.
I want to go there.
Delve in there,
I wasn't
please.
trying to go there. Right?
I want to go there.
Please.
Because we talked about male masculinity, mental health. We connected
Right.
the dots to men and relationships. We've talked about how it looks when men grow up. Let's talk about women.
Okay.
Yes.
And because
We can go
the
there
thing about women is we get told, we don't let nobody use you. Keep your game face on. Don't. It's okay for us to cry, but it's like you can only cry to a certain extent in some households. But you got to make sure you take care of yourself. You have to make sure that you do this. And a lot of times with young girls, they're really quiet, whereas the male child that needs help is loud with it. They're throwing stuff. But the girl, she doesn't separate, as you said. She tends to isolate because she doesn't know what her mother will say if she says I'm doing this, or if she's saying I'm exploring this possibility. Or so, have you seen the difference in what shows up in females than males?
Yes. Males and females are cultivated differently within the home. We'll just stick with the black community. The strong black woman. Okay. That is overused and overworked.
Yeah.
And my God.
It's
kind of like they tainted the meaning of strength and made it something that it's not.
Yeah.
To be strong, you don't have to endure hell.
Come on.
Over a prolonged period of time by the hand of anyone.
Or you don't have to prove your strength to someone to
Right.
feel that you're worthy.
And strength isn't proven by how much you can take.
Exactly.
Like when,
Why?
I'm strong because I held you down while you did a 10-year bid.
And I took you back.
And now we living. Now you stupid. Crazy.
You stupid.
Wouldn't do it.
You chose him and he ain't choosing you.
That's
and you
a
still
fool.
choosing him.
It's a no for me.
Well, now women are in their soft life.
No, right, there's soft era. There's soft.
But listen, I didn't like that because that shouldn't have been news.
Exactly.
That shouldn't have been breaking news. That shouldn't
That
have been
part.
new information. There's a balance between the two that people acted like it couldn't have existed prior to someone announcing it.
Yeah.
No, this was always a thing.
Yeah.
Y'all glorified the strong black woman over the
Aggressive.
soft woman.
And now it's popular to be the soft woman when you should have always been the soft woman.
Exactly.
Because that's how we were made in God's image to be. We were not supposed to take you back after you've done X, Y, and Z, and then to the community we were the it girl because girl, you said you held it down, and now he bought you a ring after 12 years.
After 12 years.
Nah.
Yeah, I can't see. That's where things like that. That's where social media really misses me. I'm like the soft era. What is this?
I laughed because it was like
soft.
So now y'all
You couldn't have been this before that? I don't understand. And it's like, and I really consider myself traveling the road less traveled because I allow myself to think for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing externally is going to have that much influence over me that I'm just going to view it and lock in and go with it as the only truth, as if I was at some type of disadvantage prior to.
That's good stuff.
I'm like, no.
That's good stuff.
I was like, do y'all know life existed outside of social media and before social media was on the scene? And y'all think because someone said it who has a platform that you're going to take it and run with it?
That's what they do.
I was like, where was the self-worth before this? Where was, I'm not going to tolerate this because I don't deserve this?
Exactly.
Where was, I'm more than what you're showing me, and if this is all you have, I need to walk away?
Ooh.
Where was there strength in me by myself, and I will wait until the person who can match me or exceed me and make me better or enhance me, I'll wait till he gets here.
I'm going to be the hand emoji.
Hand emoji.
I'm not going to settle just because you say I should or because this is what I'm presented with right now. Something better comes after you, and I can leave you right here while I walk past you.
My Lord.
I don't need social media to tell me that.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
But this goes back to what I said earlier about establishing your self-identity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once you establish yourself and you know who you are, you don't accept any and everything.
This is
You
true.
don't.
You won't. Because there's strength and power and authority that comes in that, and everything can't stand or walk with it.
That's it. That's it.
So we don't even match up. We don't even need to have a conversation.
We don't.
Talk about
We don't need to
Because
speak.
why?
why?
We're not that desperate. Like what?
We can be friends.
Oh,
We can be friends.
okay. I know we getting into some other stuff outside of mental health, but I'm not gonna be your friend.
Oh, it's all together.
It's together.
I'm not your friend.
It's
Me,
working together for
don't wanna be
our
friends.
good.
I will look into the camera and tell you, I'm not going to be your friend because I value friendship, and to me, friendship is something. It's not just like touch and go. Like I look at friendship more so on a biblical level. Like I look at the real definition of a friend.
Right.
Some people they associate they misconstrue friends and associates.
It's not the same.
I know you, but you're not my friend because
Right.
I can confide in you if you're my friend. Everybody does not need to know your business.
That part.
Friendship. So to the male that I look at and be like, I've already deemed you a friend, or I've deemed you something else. I don't want to be your friend. I don't. Okay, but yeah. Anyway,
That'll do it.
because like I just, oh Lord, that's a lot, Key. You just like opened up the book and we could just be here for 3 hours, and we ain't even got 3 hours, you know. But we could be here for 3 hours.
We can turn it into a part 2.
Because this needs a part 2. Because it's like, oh my gosh, I got questions, and my questions need answers.
Okay.
Like,
I'm here. You got me here. You might as well use me.
I'm
You
like,
got me.
She's like, I got questions. They need
But like,
answers.
and I want you to talk about this aspect because this is a Christian podcast,
Yes,
and we
it
do
is.
talk about and delve into how you can connect the world and you connect Jesus. And something I like to say that came to mind when I thought about that was some people think that the church is Jesus, and they don't know how to kind of like because everybody in the church don't love Jesus, and everybody in the world don't hate him.
Right.
So I need y'all to know that because you say I go to church, and that does not mean you have a relationship.
That doesn't mean you have a
because
relationship.
with relationship, you said something so profound.
Did I?
You did.
I don't remember.
You did.
Gosh, that's
Watch
so
the
much.
tape back. But you talked about how it's like you come whole. Jesus already whole. He's all the way authentically whole. I'm trying to get there. So how do you become better without a relationship?
Ooh.
It's you got to do that. So your mental, you're gonna have to rely on somebody who's already whole to get you where you need to be.
Exactly.
So merge those two together, Jesus and therapy, because that's like a popular quote now. Merge them together.
Here's the thing for me, and this was a conscious decision that I made. Everything I do, God goes with me in it. He's the footsteps, and I just walk in them. I pray before I see a client. I pray over a client. I pray on the way there in the car before I get in. I pray against whatever triggers or outbursts or whatever that they're having. And so me going in God, when I'm in a actual session, I'm listening, but my spirit man is praying. It is pleading the blood. So Jesus and therapy, they do go hand in hand because he made me.
Yes.
And he's crafted me for this profession. And I know this for sure because it's easy. The job that I have now, I did not interview for. I did not apply for. It was presented to me. I was like, oh, okay, God. Because he had to remind me, because I had prayed. I was like, God, whatever's next, do your thing, whatever. I can say that because I got a relationship. You know how we
Yes.
I was like, do what you do. And probably within a couple weeks, I was in a completely different interview, and I didn't know who was the person who was interviewing me was in the position that I want to be in. She's a PsyD, and I was like, this is not what I came here for. And she literally offered me a job in my field right there, and I was interviewing for something completely different. She was like, she was like, when you're ready. So I didn't even take it immediately. I think I didn't take it till 7 months later, and it was still there. She didn't give it to anyone else.
That's God.
So if that ain't God, then what is?
Then what is?
Name
I was like,
oh,
this is you.
Okay. Not this is you.
And because how it was presented, I didn't tell anyone else that I did not want to work in an office. I did not want to do therapy in a traditional setting because that's just not me.
Right.
It's in home. I get to be in their house.
You go to them.
Yes, I can go meet at a park. We can go take a walk. I can do what I want to do.
That's good.
And I work my own hours. If I want to take off, I'm off. I don't have to go through anybody.
Come on with the work that that's soft life right here. If that ain't soft life, I don't know what is. If I don't want to go to work, I'm not going. Okay? So y'all can take some notes. That's real soft life. Okay? Not bubble baths. Okay? That's soft life.
What you doing? This is
that's relying on God to order your steps, because he wrote the book. Like you said, we just turn the pages. We just go as he guides us. And that's beautiful.
It is, see?
Yeah, so Jesus in therapy, it's a thing. People, there's the stigma around therapy that needs to be demolished because it's such a hindrance. Because people, who really need assistance and really need help, they look at it as if they're less than because they go to therapy, and that's not the case.
It's not.
Especially in the kingdom, it's like, and people equate therapy to you're going to take medication
or crazy. I'm not crazy. I don't need therapy,
and you don't need medication for everything.
This is true.
I don't even refer a lot of them, for medication. No, I'm like, let me try my way first. Because they don't know coming off the back. I'm like, I'm going to give you a little Jesus. You don't even know. I didn't order up my hands. I didn't touch your doorknob, your couch.
But you pretty much answered, so at the end of every episode, we have what you call a hard question. That is an acronym for how are you really doing? And I need y'all to answer that for real for this episode, because we want to know how you doing. So, Key, you said something. You talked about a lot of stuff. But I want you to leave the listeners on Netflix and Heal with a way that they can take care of their mental health on a daily. Give them a good 30-second and to leave.
Honestly, because this is a faith-based podcast, what I love to say is go with God.
Yes.
Because that's the source of everything, and all your answers rely in him. And, he's the truth, the way, and the light. That's really it for me. And acknowledging the truth will set you on the right path. When you sit with yourself and sit in your mess and address it and process it with him as your aid and your guide, and you relinquish all of that and yield that over to him, there's no failure in him. So you automatically know you're on the right path. You just got to get in there, and don't be afraid of yourself.
Oh,
that's I understand sometimes people don't like to feel hurt. They don't like to feel those emotions, but sometimes you got to sit with the mess to get over it.
Yes.
You got to clean it up.
Yes. Sit with the mess to get over it. Oh, Key, you coming back? Okay,
She's coming back to the couch,
I
baby.
feel it in my shana.
Oh.
It might be a table.
It might be a round table.
Oh, it might be a table.
Mashana.
I'm barely at a loss for words. Well, you guys, this was just absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
I think it's any better. Dr. Keirra Goggins, I think it's any better.
Sure.
I just, and I talk a lot, but when I ain't got nothing to say, that's a good thing.
Okay.
You know? So, you guys, this was an absolutely phenomenal episode. Key, thank you.
Yes, girl. Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you
for coming to the couch. We appreciate you. So, ladies and gentlemen, you already know, as Netflix and Hill, if you desire to hear this episode, listen on all streaming platforms. If you listen on Apple, could y'all please rate us and give us 5 stars so we can move to the top, and this could be the most popular one, because what I do say every morning in my affirmation is it is the #1 podcast in the world, so it's going to have to be. But in order
Declare it.
you need to give us 5 stars. On
5,
Apple.
please. Come on.
Yeah, just
Come on.
write
Y'all give them
something.
5.
Give us 5.
Tell a friend to give them 5.
Tell a friend.
Double it up.
Just do what you got to do, because this was good and y'all need to cry. So
Let it out.
cry or something and listen to it and then rate it 5 stars. But follow us on Instagram at Netflix_AND_Heal. And the episode will drop. You get all the deets. You can talk with Tay and Britt. If Key you got a question for Key, if you DM me, I'm sending it right to her.
Right.
I will
Because
answer.
she will answer for you. So don't ask me, because I don't do what she do. I'm gonna be like, you need to pray. Go to
the doctor.
She gonna tell you need to take a walk.
If you're a believer, I'm going to tag that on the end too.
Pray.
You need to pray. Come on.
She gonna give you all the other
One
shit. I'm
accord.
like, you need to pray. And you need to cry.
We bring it
That's
back
one
to the
thing.
book. Amen.
Pray.
Man.
And cry. Pray and cry, cry and pray. Do both if you
That'll
want.
do it.
Cry while you pray. And pray while you cry. Do both. It's been absolutely fantastic to have you here, Key. And she'll be back. She already said it.
I will.
She's coming back.
And actually, we're gonna do a part 2 of this. So just get ready, because it's going down.
Y'all lucky.
Yeah.
I don't give everybody my time.
Oh, well, we got it.
God did this.
God did.
Come on.
So thank you. And as always, if you need to get in your local church, please do so.
Yes.
Go wherever you are. Get you some good leadership. Get you some good covering, because your mental health is important.
Absolutely.
And we want you here because God has you here for a reason. You are be in purpose, on purpose. Live your life the way God destined it. So in order for that, you need your mind to be right.
Yes.
So the best way to start there is, like we said, Jesus and therapy.
Amen.
We thank God for you listening. We thank God for keep being here.
Yes,
and we
we
just
do.
thank God for Netflix and Hill.
Okay.
So until next time, beautiful people. we
See
out.
you soon.
Oh.